They sat me at the edge table during my father's 60th Thanksgiving celebration after I traveled 9 hours and paid for their hotel rooms, only for my sister to grin and say nobody truly cares about me, so I raised my glass, gave them 20 seconds, and changed everything. They placed me at the edge table during my father's 60th celebration, which that year happened on Thanksgiving after I traveled 9 hours and covered their accommodation. My sister grinned. Nobody truly cares about you. They just pity you. My mother agreed. You shouldn't even be present. I lifted my glass and announced, 20 seconds. At 5, my cousin gasped. 10, my uncle rose. At 20, my mother froze, murmuring, it's accurate. My name is Daniel. I'm 31, firstborn son, silent achiever, the one who consistently funded his own path and never complained. And last Thanksgiving, I traveled 9 hours nationwide, covered my parents' accommodation, reserved the dinner spot, and entered a space where my own relatives made it crystal clear. I was unwelcome. It wasn't the type of dismissal you witness openly. Not initially. It existed in how my mother's gaze swept beyond me upon arrival. How my father offered me a brief embrace like I was someone else's child. And it was certainly in how Claire, my younger sister and perpetual favorite, angled her head and remarked, wow, you appear exhausted. I dismissed it. It was Thanksgiving regardless, a season for appreciation. I even brought wine from a vineyard near my recent apartment in Oregon, the one I relocated to following my advancement. Nobody inquired about it. They simply accepted the bottle, opened it, and placed it center table like a contribution from an outsider. But I still settled down, grinned, and attempted to get comfortable. The restaurant was crowded. One of those upscale establishments with soft lighting and servers who address you as sir, regardless of age. I reserved it 3 months prior. Informed the host we'd require a large table for 10. I submitted the deposit. I verified the timing. So, when the hostess guided me to a lengthy table positioned in the rear corner, I hesitated. Every chair was occupied except one at the distant end, nearest to the service entrance, barely illuminated by the wavering candle at its middle. My mother glanced up from her position beside my father and opposite Claire. Oh, there you are, she said as if she hadn't realized I was absent. That's yours. That's mine, I questioned. Claire smirked. Well, we weren't certain if you were still arriving. I stared. I confirmed, Mother, twice. She shrugged. You didn't reply in the group message for a period. Claire said, perhaps your job detained you. Claire interrupted her, reclining in her chair, wine glass in hand. Nobody truly cares about you, Daniel. They just pity you. My breathing stopped. What? My mother didn't object. She simply nodded slowly and added like she was providing directions to a confused tourist. You shouldn't even be present. For a moment, all I could detect was the clatter of plates from the kitchen. I surveyed the table. Nobody met my gaze. My uncle suddenly found his menu captivating. My aunt began adjusting her napkin. Even my younger cousin, Lexi, stared at her device like it was salvation. And that was when I stood up, raised my glass, cleared my throat. 20 seconds, I announced. Claire rolled her eyes. What now? I observed them, truly observed them, and repeated it. I require 20 seconds. At 5 seconds, Lexi slowly lowered her device. 10, my uncle looked up pale. At 20, my mother stilled, hand frozen on her wine glass, and whispered, it's accurate. I took a breath and told them exactly what they never expected I'd express. You don't simply arrive at you shouldn't even be present overnight. Takes years. Years of being the one who intervenes when your family collapses and being resented for it. I was 19 when father lost his position. The factory closed and suddenly the mortgage was 3 months overdue. I took double shifts at the campus library and began driving for a food delivery service at night. When mother's vehicle needed new tires, I paid. When Claire got accepted into NYU, out-of-state tuition, mind you, I co-signed her student loans and covered the first semester because, in mother's words, she's delicate. We can't burden her. I was the burden absorber. Every crisis, I handled it. When father injured a disc and couldn't work again, I flew home for 2 weeks. I was 24. I canceled a work presentation that could have advanced my career. I slept on the sofa, drove him to physical therapy, purchased groceries, paid bills. Claire posted throwback selfies from Cancun. And still, mother would tell anyone who'd listen. We're so fortunate Claire's around to brighten our spirits. She has such positive energy. Positive energy. She hadn't lifted a finger. Once I asked Claire calmly, like an adult, if she could assist with mother's dental bill. It was $1,400. Claire rolled her eyes and said, you're the one with the corporate position, Daniel. Don't be petty. Petty. I was sending $400 monthly to my parents at the time. That's when the family began shifting like tectonic plates. I wasn't helpful anymore. I was expected to pay for the Airbnb when we took family trips. Expected to fly in and out on holidays regardless of expense. Expected to upgrade to first class because Claire experiences anxiety in coach. Expected to handle the dinner check because your uncle's experiencing a difficult period. I didn't resist. Not initially, because resisting meant guilt. Daniel, how can you refuse after everything we've done for you? Done for me. I built everything independently. No handouts, no inheritance, no wedding fund, no co-signers, just long hours and quiet sacrifice. But you don't receive awards for being the reliable one. You get receipts stacked high. 2 years ago, I began keeping them. Every transfer, every Venmo, every emailed flight confirmation, a digital cemetery of generosity. And then last summer, the breaking commenced. It began with Claire's birthday trip to Palm Springs. She wanted to celebrate big for her 28th. 10 people, luxury villa, heated pool, brunches, and spa days. Everyone knew who was expected to cover the expense, me. But this time, I hesitated. I can't pay for everyone. I texted the family chat. 5 minutes later, Claire replied, "Didn't you get a promotion? Stop pretending you're broke." Mother chimed in. "It's her birthday, Daniel." When I didn't respond, Father messaged me privately. "Son, we need to discuss. You're acting different. Different for not wanting to hemorrhage money on a party for a sister who hadn't even sent me a birthday text the year before." They guilt me until I surrendered again. $4,385. That's what I paid. After the trip, Claire posted a photo series with the caption, "Grateful for chosen family." I wasn't tagged. That was the first time I sat alone in my apartment and whispered, "They don't love me. They love what I provide them." A few weeks later, it deteriorated. I was in the middle of a team presentation at work when my phone buzzed 13 times consecutively. Claire, then Mother, then Uncle Travis. The messages were frantic. "Call me now. Emergency." My heart sank. I stepped out of the conference room and called Claire. Her voice was breathless, urgent. Mother's card was declined at the salon. They won't let her leave until she pays the balance. "Can you send $800 right now?" My pulse raced. Wait, what salon? Hair and makeup. She was getting her color touched up and tried the new hydration treatment. I blinked. "That's not an emergency, Claire." Claire's voice turned cold. "So, you're okay letting Mother sit there embarrassed?" Mother got on the line. "Daniel, please." I didn't know it would cost that much. They locked the door. "I'm so embarrassed." I sent the money. 15 minutes later, Claire posted a photo of Mother's hair with a caption, "Self-care queen." No thank you, no acknowledgement, nothing. And then came Thanksgiving. Claire offered to plan Father's 60th, said she had it all handled. 1 week before the trip, she texted me. "I booked the hotel. You're handling payment, right?" No question mark. I looked up the total. $1,642 for 3 rooms. I paid it again. Then she asked if I could cover the group dinner, too. "Just put it on your card, and we'll Venmo you after." No one Venmo'd. The day I arrived, Claire posted a photo of herself holding a champagne flute in the hotel lobby with a caption, "Finally reunited with the favorites." I wasn't in the photo. I took a breath and reminded myself, "You're here to celebrate Father. Be graceful." But the truth is, by the time I walked into that restaurant, by the time I saw that corner seat by the kitchen, by the time Claire smiled and said what she said, I already knew. I wasn't family anymore. I was funding. I didn't plan to go nuclear, but when you're seated by the kitchen door on Thanksgiving, after paying for everyone's hotel, after being told you shouldn't even be present, something inside you breaks, so I clinked my glass. 20 seconds, I said loud enough for the whole table to hear. They stared like I'd grown a second head. Claire laughed nervously. "Are you making a toast?" I nodded. "I am." Silence fell. Lexi glanced at her mother. My Uncle Travis scratched his neck. Even the waiter, mid-pour at the next table, froze. I stood. 20 seconds. That's all I'll need to change everything. My mother's brow furrowed. "Daniel, sit down." I raised a hand. "No, I've earned this moment. I paid for this moment." Her lips parted, but no words came. "Let's discuss seating," I said, walking toward their tables. Slow, controlled. "I flew 9 hours, paid $1,642 for your hotel rooms, covered a $900 dinner reservation none of you offered to split, and I get the chair next to the swinging door like the waiter who snuck in." Claire rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, are you seriously making this about money?" I stopped directly behind her chair. "No, Claire. I'm making this about mathematics." I reached into my jacket and pulled out a folded printout, opened it like a menu. "See, for the past 3 years, I've tracked everything. Every dime I've sent, every trip I funded, every emergency I covered." My uncle scoffed. "Are you keeping score now?" I wasn't, I said, looking him directly in the eye. But apparently, gratitude expired a long time ago. I flipped the page. May 12th, 2022. $1,900 for Claire's car repair. Never repaid. Claire turned red. That wasn't my fault. The mechanic. July 4th, 2021. Airbnb in Napa. I paid $3,200. Family promised to split later. Still waiting. Mother's mouth opened, but I cut her off. August 2023. $800 for your salon lockdown. Remember, Mother, when you said they wouldn't let you leave until you paid. I was panicking, she snapped. Panicking is what I did when I saw my credit card statement. You got a blowout and a latte. I got 19% APR, Claire muttered. You're so dramatic. I turned to her calm as ice. And you? You told people I wasn't coming tonight. That's why you didn't save me a seat. You sat at the head of my table. I didn't know. I booked this place, Claire. She went silent. I looked down at her, then at the rest. You all sit here like a royal court, sipping the wine I bought, pretending I'm just what? The family wallet. My cousin Lexi shifted uncomfortably. Daniel, we didn't mean. Yes, you did. I snapped. You all meant every second of this. I turned to Mother. You nodded when Claire said, nobody likes me. You didn't flinch. You didn't defend me. She blinked like suddenly realizing she was being watched. I didn't think. You never think, Mother. You just expect that I'll fix it. That I'll pay. That I'll forgive. Her voice cracked. You're twisting everything. Am I? I held up my phone. Let me read the message you sent Claire last week. The one she forgot to delete from the family chat before she screenshotted it to her friend. Pulled it up. He'll show up anyway. He always does. Guilt is a powerful thing. Gasps. Claire reached for her phone. You went through my texts. You posted it on your story by mistake, Claire. Amelia sent it to me before you deleted it. A beat of stunned silence. Then my father slammed his fork down. That's enough, Daniel. You're making a scene. I turned slowly to him. Scene? I laughed. I've spent 31 years watching you let this family run on manipulation and silence. And now that someone's calling it out, it's a scene. He stood. We didn't ask for this. No, you asked for my money, my time, my obedience. I looked around the table, making sure to meet every eye. But starting tonight, you don't get any of it. My mother's voice trembled. What does that mean? It means I'm done, I said. No more flights, no more hotels, no more bailing you out of salon kidnappings. No more funding Claire's luxury retreats while she blocks me from photos. Claire's face twisted. You're just bitter. I have friends. I smiled coldly. You have users, Claire. The only reason they came to your Palm Springs party is because I footed the bill. Same with your birthday brunch and your fake friends. They know it. Daniel. Mother tried. No. I snapped. You said I wasn't supposed to be here. Fine. Then consider this the last dinner I'll ever attend. The room was frozen. No one moved. No one breathed. I turned, walked back to my chair by the kitchen, and poured myself a full glass of the wine I brought. Happy birthday, Father. I said, raising it. Enjoy the bill. It's in your name this time. Then I picked up my coat and walked out. No one followed. Not one person. The next morning, I woke up in a quiet hotel room with no unread messages. Not one. After my speech, I turned off my phone and booked a last-minute suite downtown. 8 overpriced room service. Slept for 10 hours straight. Dreamless. Peace is expensive, but it's worth every cent. When I finally turned my phone back on at noon, the notifications hit like hail. 27 missed calls, 42 messages, 17 voicemails. Mother, Daniel, how could you do this to us? Father, you embarrassed yourself. Not us. Claire, you're insane. Blocked. Uncle Travis, we need to talk. That wasn't cool. Even my aunt sent a passive-aggressive text. Family is about forgiveness. No one asked if I was okay. No one apologized. No one mentioned the money. Period. I didn't respond. I forwarded all the voicemails to my Google Drive and archived every message. That weekend, I flew back home. Upgraded to first class, not for comfort, but for symbolism. I'd earned it. I paid for it. No one else was going to take that from me. Back in Oregon, my apartment never felt so sacred, quiet, clean, safe. For the first time, I sat on my couch, opened a bottle of my favorite Cabernet, and just breathed. No guilt, no group chat buzzing. No Claire demanding deposits for her next healing retreat. I didn't just feel free. I felt reborn. The weeks that followed were almost surreal. People noticed something was different. My boss called me into her office and said, I don't know what's going on with you lately, but you've been sharper, focused. I got promoted, senior project lead, higher pay, more autonomy, my own office with a door I could close. I joined a gym, not to punish myself, but to feel my body again, like it was mine, not a machine built for servitude. I started dating again. Real dates, not stolen evenings squeezed between work and family emergencies. Coffee that turned into wine. Conversation that wasn't interrupted by panic texts from mother. 3 months after the dinner incident, I hosted a Friendsgiving at my place. 15 people came, colleagues, neighbors, a guy I'd met hiking, a woman I'd kissed under a bridge 2 Fridays before. Real laughter, real joy. Nobody asked me to pay for anything. They just showed up with pie, with wine, with stories. That night, as candles flickered and people lounged on my floor, I realized this is family, not the one you're born into, the one you choose. But just as I started to rebuild, the cracks in their perfect picture started to show. Amelia, my cousin, the only one who ever quietly took my side, texted me one evening. You won't believe what's happening. Claire's housewarming party had turned into a disaster. Apparently, she invited 30 people, but forgot to check her credit limit. The catering was canceled. The champagne never arrived. Guests stood around a half-decorated condo sipping box wine and eating cold shrimp. When Claire tried to blame the party planner, someone pulled up screenshots of her canceling last minute to save money. She cried in the bathroom for an hour. Father didn't show up. He claimed he was busy. Mother was there, according to Amelia, hovering like a ghost with too much perfume. A week later, Claire posted a vague story. Some people only love you when you're useful. Oh, the irony. Then came the real twist. My parents' bank account got frozen. Apparently, they defaulted on 2 loans. The same loans I used to help cover. Mother texted me. Can we talk? It's urgent. I didn't reply. She called 3 times in a row. Then a message. Your father's health is suffering. He's under so much stress. We need your help, Daniel. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered, but then I remembered her words. You shouldn't even be present. So, I deleted the message. They had chosen a life without me. I was simply honoring that choice. And then came the most unexpected message of all from Claire. A voice memo. I hesitated, played it on speaker. Her voice was shaky, like she'd been crying. Daniel, I don't know if you'll even listen to this, but I've been thinking about what you said about how we use you. And I don't know, maybe we did, maybe I did. I guess I never saw it that way, because you never pushed back. You were always just there. Pause. A sniff. I'm not saying sorry to get anything. I'm not doing great. And I thought you should know that. I sat in silence. For the first time in years, Claire wasn't cruel, wasn't manipulative, just human. But I didn't respond. Not because I hated her, because I needed space. Real space. And for once, she didn't follow up. That was the first boundary she ever respected. 6 months later, I stood in front of a mirror fixing my collar when I noticed something strange. Silence. No buzzing phone. No urgent text from mother. No Venmo request from Claire. No guilt-heavy voicemail from father. Just quiet, clean, beautiful. That morning I was heading to a business gala. Black tie rooftop. One of those nights you don't photograph because you're too busy living it. My company had just signed a 7-figure client. I was being honored with a leadership award. As I adjusted my tie, a single thought passed through my mind. I almost missed this life because I was too busy living someone else's. That hit harder than I expected. Because for 31 years, my time, my money, my worth, it all belonged to them. To a family that didn't see me, only used me. A system of manipulation disguised as tradition, of control disguised as love. And I let it happen. But not anymore. The week before, I received a package in the mail. No return address, just a small brown envelope sealed tight. Inside a single object, a photo me, Claire, and mother taken years ago at a beach in Santa Cruz. I was 22. I paid for the trip. Claire wore sunglasses I'd bought her. Mother was wrapped in a blanket I packed. On the back of the photo, in neat handwriting. We didn't deserve you, but thank you anyway. No name, but I recognized Claire's handwriting. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just folded the photo back into the envelope. Slid it into a drawer and walked away, because closure isn't a scene. It's a decision. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need an apology shouted through tears. I didn't even need them to understand. I just needed me. Finally, on my own side. I sold the backup phone I used for the family chat. I closed the joint account mother used for emergencies. I blocked every number that still tried to tether me to a version of myself I no longer recognized. And I breathed. God, I breathed. People ask me now, do you talk to your family? And I say this, I talk to the parts of them that live inside me. The guilt, the fear, the need to prove my worth, but the people themselves. No, we haven't spoken in months. And that silence, it's the kindest sound I've ever known. Sometimes freedom looks like a long pause. Sometimes it sounds like no ringtone. Sometimes it feels like a deep breath on a rooftop in a tuxedo holding a glass of champagne looking at a city that knows your name. And not one single person in that crowd wants anything from you except for who you really are. That night I gave a speech. The lights were warm. The applause real. And I said, for a long time, I believed love was sacrifice, that the more I gave, the the more I'd be seen. But I was wrong. Love isn't loss. It's not giving until you disappear. It's being loved back. It's boundaries. It's respect. It's choice. And tonight, I choose myself. Applause, tears, not mine. And then silence again. A silence I earned. Because here's the truth. I am no longer the family bank. I am no longer the therapist, the fixer, the doormat, the ATM, the safety net, the seat by the kitchen door. I am Daniel, son of no expectations, brother to no guilt, and survivor of a family that taught me what love isn't. So I could finally discover what love is. I walk forward now with both hands open, not to give, but to receive. And this time it's on my terms.